Hi everyone, the epic videos have returned and they are going to be back and more epicer than ever. Now I've done a few since, but really when I started sweating videos I left off after my Leyland games in the story of my adventure, and we know I had a rather disastrous tournament, and I entered the tournament weekend after as well at Manchester, a 5-rounded under 165 section. My grade's 141, so I was about halfway. This was a memorable tournament off the board. Let's see if it was just as memorable on the board. And in this same tournament last year, I went in the under 125 minor and won 220 quid, which was also my first ever senior tournament. Well, I don't think I'd be wanting to try and win 220 quid in this section with all these like 150s and 160s. Before we start, I have my own cafe on Chess Cube now to thank all my hard work. Maybe nice if you make an effort to join. People said it's like the best chat on Chess Cube, and if you don't believe me, you can ask them. But anyway, on with this game. Turned up for round 1 on Friday night, knackered after some long hard walk, and I was playing against David Boulden of Denton, graded 146 ECF, and this is the first of 3 games which I'm going to be doing videos on against him. The other 2 were in that where our respective clubs played each other in league, but this was a Congress game, and he was actually about 20 minutes late for this. The time control was 80 minutes for all moves plus 30 seconds back after every move, so there wasn't much danger of losing on time. But anyway, on to chess now. He was white and opened with e4. Oops. There we go. I played the French, and he played the exchange line. And after I took, he shocked me with the move h3. And I was thinking, what is this? I thought he wants to maybe have a quick expansion with g4, and he maybe wants to stop bishop g4. It's a bit of prophylaxis. And when someone plays the exchange French against me, I assume they're a boring player. I don't think they're a hacker, but this guy is a bit of a hacker, as we're going to see over the course of the 3 games that I played against him. We're going to see in another game I play against him for bishop d3, a more sensible move, but he turned up a bit late and probably wanted to get me out of book early, so he played this strange looking move to confuse me, and I decided to play knight f6. If I have to face this again, I'm probably going to put bishop on f5, which is a good square, and you're asking white what he's done with h3, he's like he's just down a move now. If g4 to harass the bishop, then bishop e4 is strong, because if white doesn't play knight f3, then if f3, then we've got queen h4 check. Oops. Is strong, forcing white to go up castling, so that can't be played. So after bishop f5, white would probably play something like bishop d3 to swap the strong bishop up, and after bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, knight f6, you just ask what is the point of this h3 move? It's just like white's completely thrown away initiative. But confronting it the first time over the board wasn't pleasant, and looking up in the book afterwards I couldn't find anything. I think it's just a weird move to try and get him out of the book, but it's completely thrown me. But I played knight f6, and after bishop d3 I played bishop e7, so when confronted with something new I sometimes can play a bit passively, and the bishop should be going d6 here, that's for sure. And black's at least equal. But instead bishop e7, and after bishop f4, white's strategy is going to be to control the e5 square a lot of times and then plant the knight on there. So as you're going to see, he's going to pile up on e5. I castled short, and after knight f3, knight bd7, blocking in the c8 bishop, which isn't particularly great. Knight c6 was more active. And because white's h3 isn't that good, he's still practically equal even at this stage. So he plays knight bd7, I play knight bd7, and now he supports his centre with c3, which is a good move. Also possible was knight c3, which is a bit more active, and maybe play knight b5 to him, get some pressure on c7. And again, white's got a good position because of my inaccuracy with knight bd7 and bishop e7. I play knight b6, and after knight bd2 I play c6. Interesting is c5, which I get an isolated pawn, but I do get some good activity in like a Tarrasch defense style position. So I say take, and after bishop takes c5, I've got this annoying IQP, but he hasn't got a bishop finish yet on g2, so it's harder to put pressure on it. It's well protected by my knights and queen, and my pieces are all pretty active, and it's quite a dynamic position this, and there's potential for d4 as well to get rid of the weakness. think black has a decent game here. So I play c6, solid move, supporting the centre, and now he brings his knight into e5, and now his other knight can come to f3 if I ever try and hack it off the board. And all white's pieces can find good squares because of my passive play. But again, h3 and a rather bad and nasty move. So black's disadvantage isn't very much, and I retract my bad fifth move with bishop d6. But because of white's h3, I've not really given the tempo back. I mean, this h3 move, and what really has it done, to be honest, except take away g4 square. He plays queen f3, and now you're going to see that he's keeping his options open. He might castle short, or he might castle long, and it's looking like after this move he's going to castle long because he's put his queen on the f file near my king, and he's preparing maybe g4, g5 after he castles long. I decided to try and force him to castle straight away by rook e8. Where his knight's now pinned, and I might just play queen c7 and mount loads of pressure on it, and then bring the other knight back to d7. And because his queen has come to f3, he can't protect it by bringing his other knight to f3. So he castles long in the end, and now you see the respective plans from both sides. He's going to try and hack me up with g4, g5, drive away my knight, and then maybe Greek gift me on h7 or something, whereas I can move the knight and play b5, b4, or go for the a pawn. But because I've bought the b pawn with my knight, I'm a bit behind in this race. However, his queen side does have a weakness on c3, like a hook, which I can use to open lines, so it's not too bad. But I've got backward developments with my c8 bishop undeveloped. I decided to go for it with a5 before he gets his attack in. Maybe I was playing moves like knight a4, b5, b4, and white's queen side would like fall apart. But I have to be careful, he's not without counterplay. Maybe better in hindsight is queen c7, and after g4, bishop e6, and after g5, knight fd7, which is good because I've got if he takes my knight, I can like take his bishop on him f4 if I want, because I've got two pieces on it all of a sudden. I'm also protecting f7, so he can't go bishop takes h7 followed by queen h5 check. And this isn't a too bad position, this. Quite dangerous of black, but if he's careful, it should be fine. If white isn't in kamikaze mode, he might play a consolidate move like king b1. Then we simply go on the rampage with a5, and then like a4, a3, and get some of my own fun going. But I played a5 straight away, and now he plays g4. You see the game is sharpening up. And I actually thought I was in big trouble there and fought for over 20 minutes and played queen c7, which isn't a very good move. The best move, what I hadn't realised in a lot of lines, I lose because of f7 becoming under fire. You see my rook's gone to e8, so f7's weaker, and there's potential for him playing g5 to drive my knight away, and then he'll play a bishop takes h7 check, and after queen h5 check takes f7, and then like he's threatening mate and all sorts of stuff, and then my rook's hanging and all sorts of nasties. Especially after I move my queen away. So bishop e6 is the correct move to keep equality, and after g5, the knight hasn't really got any good squares, so you play bishop takes e5, because if the knight's taken, you just win the pawn with bishop takes f6. So we have to take the bishop back. If d takes e5, then knight fd7, and it looks like white's got a menacing attacking position, but he hasn't got any breakthroughs. And black can start his own fun, so this isn't too bad. And if bishop takes e5, then knight fd7, bishop f4, and knight c4. Should be fun. And then we get our own fun. Alright, stuff like queen b6 coming. But anyway, I play queen c7. Should be fun. He's gonna have to turn it off. But anyway, queen c7, and now he goes g5, he's kicking my knight away. Now there's a few factors in this position. I've got a potential for my rook on e8, potential to be on pre. Now I'm moving my queen and my knight's getting driven away. You may think that a piece so far embedded in my camp would need to be protected, but loose pieces do lose games, and I'm going to be punished also for not moving my c8 bishop, because now my rook's gonna the loose rook on e8 is gonna lose me the game basically after g5, because well, first of all I play knight fd7, which loses the game instantly, But even with the stronger moves, if say bishop takes e5, d takes e5, I can't play knight back to d7 now because of e6 winning material, because queen c7 is such a bad move, so I have to like give it a bit of a pawn with knight e4, and then he plays my e6, and oh, it's just nasty and awful. Like pawns dropping off, the king's getting opened up, all his pieces are more active. I've got no counterplay. It's awful. And if knight e4, then for a start it's attacked 3 times and defending once, so he just wins a pawn. Say knight c4, an interesting tactical move. Then you can just go knight d3 takes, knight takes, and if a4, but what black's compensation is negligible here. It's probably got a slight amount of compensation because white hasn't got any immediate threats, and black can maybe get some attack going. Because when white plays c3, it gave like a point to open lines up at, but I'd rather be white in this position. I think anyone would. But these are better than game continuation. I play knight fd7, and quick test for your tactical ability. Think about what we've been talking about over the course of the video. Give you just a might want to stop video. Just a force win for white. Well, as we know in the French, you can be very susceptible to Greek gift sacrifices on h7, and this one is a force win. Now let's see, let's look at the variations. If I had played king h8, then we see knight takes f7 check is immediately decisive. I have to take the bishop, and then he plays bishop takes d6, and my queen has been checkmated. So I'm losing the queen. So that's not a good line. If I accept the sacrifice, then he plays queen h5 check. I have to go back to g8 or h8. Say g8. Queen takes f7 check. King h7. And now instead of taking the rook, he can play g6 check. King h8, take the rook with check. I bring my knight back, and then he comes into f7 check. I have to move my king, and then he just takes my bishop, and he's a rook and 2 pawns up, and my queen's also trapped. So that's resigns box. Box, by the way, means forced. And the third option, which is actually the worst of the options, although of course they're all resigns, is king f8. And now just a quick couple of seconds, white to play mate in 2. Just knight g6 check, and I resigned because I have to take it, and then bishop takes d6, double mate. I actually didn't see that it's mate, I just thought I was losing the queen, but of course that resigns anyway. But I resigned after knight g6 check, and after my terrible performance at Leyland, I have lost in 16 moves in round 1 to a player not that high graded than me. And the game I faced the next day was almost feeling like a must-win game, to be honest, which I'll do a video of later and see if I did win it. But that isn't the best start, 16 move loss. And but I hope you learned something from this video. Themes are like how to work against a surprise weapon like 4h3 was, or not to be thrown, how to get hacked up by a Greek gift sack and all that. But for now, please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.